Hey, welcome to So Steady Facebook Live. I'm going to refresh my screen, and if you can hear what I'm saying and you have a good picture, can you please let me know? Either send me a thumbs up or go ahead and post a comment, and I will refresh my screen so I can see that, and we'll make a few adjustments and we'll get started. Alrighty, I can see me. And I see that we have a couple of people here on the broadcast, about 16. And we'll just keep going. Linda Shell, thank you for your note. I appreciate you so much. All right, it's Purple Day. It's Ann Moore's favorite color. She loves purple. So it's a tribute. All right, so we are going to start with some marking tools. And the first thing we're going to do is kind of mark our center. If I had patchwork, I could go ahead and use that. For now, I'm just going to fold this in half and do a little finger creasing right here, right in the center like that, and smooth that out. And I'm going to go ahead and chalk it just in case it doesn't show up as well on video. So right there is the mark, and then this way. Okay. How many people use your Crosshair Square? A lot, because I do. I love it. Let's see, where's my mark? My machine's going to sleep, but it looks like it's about right there. So, and let me show you real quick. We can use Donnell's little helper right here. That's 10 inches to the one side, so this should be 10, give or take. And it's slightly off, but it is good enough for what we need. So we'll kind of use that as our center. One of the things that I love to use is the circles on Quilts Set 3. And I'll just bring these up. These people look at them and they're like, it's a fan. What is it doing? What does it mean? They don't understand that it's going to sew the most awesome circles. The way that these work, if you can see the numbers, one fan will have odd numbers. This one is odd numbers by half. And then you'll have the evens as well. So if I were just to buy set 1, what you would get is just odd and even. You'd get like this. From 2 up to 12. Plus, don't forget that you could use these outer circles to make some slightly bigger ones. And it is matching, like the numbers are like 13 and a half, or 12 and a half, 13, 13 and a half, 14, but you don't have any notes on it. So you'd have to test that and reference it yourself. Set 2 is these odd and evens by half. And if you buy set 3, you get all 4 pieces. So just to start out with, we're going to start out with a 10-inch circle. And initially that circle is going to be, we'll sew it in, and we're going to use that as the reference for the rest of our designs. All right, and just to be crazy, let you kind of see where we're going. Sort of like this. Let me see if I can back it up a little bit, hang on. So this is a working design. A lot of people they want to see the finished design. Well, there isn't a finished design, it's a working design. But I'm going to show you how you can use some tools and make these little onion tops. And I'm going to use an alternate similar tool, and it'll be wider like this, but still have a point. And we'll talk about how you can get those. So like every other one will be sewn like this, every other one like this, and then we have different options for centers for each of them. So we'll have 2 variations that will go around the circle. So you can see that obviously we're going to need some crosshair lines as well. So we should maybe make that first. Let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to put the pin in because we'll just use that as the reference for everything. Okay, just so you know, when I'm putting these in, I have double batting, so it's pretty thick. I have my fingers kind of split like this, so as I'm pushing, the pin is going through there, not through there. So when I hold it, I kind of know where that pressure is, and I split my fingers just to make sure that I can keep myself safe. All right, let's get this pin in here. Sorry, I got to bring it a little closer to me because I can barely see what I'm doing on the camera. All right, and let me show you something too. I've got ruler work selected on my machine, but I have the thicker batting. So on my machine, that foot is actually a little bit higher than it would be if I was doing normal. So on the Janome, it has two settings, medium and light. And this is the light setting. And if you put that foot down, you can see like I can't even move. See how it's snow plowing in front of the foot? So always with ruler work, you want to make sure that you can move your sandwich freely without any problem. So if it is doing that, if it's snow plowing out in front like that, then you need to elevate your foot a little bit so that you can move more conveniently. Okay, you guys, I have to show you this cool tool. I know not everybody has it, but I do, and it's awesome. This is the Starry Nights Crosshair Ruler, 16 points. And then I can actually do 32 really easily. So we'll lay it on there. I put it right in the center. And I'm just going to use that and mark all my lines. I wish I had my Choco liner. I can't find it right now. Hopefully this will show up. I think I need some more chalk though. Oh, of course. Let's see. Oh, let me grab my bag. I'm sure that I have another Choco liner in there. I always have to have a spare, right? Because that's what happens. We can never find everything when we need it. You think I would have had this done ahead of class, right? Of course. All right. I do have extra Choco liners. I have quite a few. Ready? Ah, I love them. They're awesome. So these ones do not have that magic chalk, which I really like because when you use the ones with the iron off chalk, they don't come off as easily. So hopefully we'll be able to make do with these today without too much trouble. These just have the regular Choco liner chalk in them. Yeah, so I see some people say they have the Starry Nights one. I just really think it is super convenient because with 2 passes, I can have 32 lines. So if you're doing designs that need a lot of lines like this one, that can be so, so helpful to be able to get everything that you need right off the bat. So because we might need some extra lines, you can see right there, it's split right down the middle. See, there's a white line in the middle right there. So if I line that split up, you'll see right there, now these lines are in the middle. So I'll get everybody lined up and let's make another set of lines. I'm just really praying this is going to show up here for me for a while so we can finish our design. I have to go find my other Choco liner later. All right, just holding it in place. I don't want it shifting around while I'm making my lines. So I realize that this is going to get busy, but I just think it'll be easier if we can just mark it one time. All right, there we go. So just to get some of the excess powder off, but we do have a lot of lines. Our pin is already right in the center, and we can just put our circle right on that. If I need to make some lines longer later on, it's easy to do that. I do have Donnell's SoBiz ruler, and that one I can see really well, and it's really easy to increase the length of these lines because we'll probably have to make them a little bit longer. That is one of the benefits about getting the big crosshair. If you're working with a big design, then you don't have to do as much remarking. Okay, so we said 10. This is our 10-inch circle. We're just going to put it on there. And I'm going to sew my 10-inch circle. All right, let's get this in a little closer so we can come down, see what we're doing here. All right, I think that'll be a little bit better. How many people have used the circle before? The circles on quilts? I think they're amazing. I really use them a lot and love how they work. I'm trying to pull this up so it'll be a little bit longer tail. Work this right into the channel that you want to go in, right? Don't just try and drop the foot into the channel, slide it in. That definitely will help prevent any chipping of your templates or anything. And let's see. Pull that bobbin thread up. Okay, oh, it's one of those days. Bobbin thread is not wanting to come up. If that happens to you, here's my workaround, right? This didn't pick it up because it's too short. Just do it one more time. It's going to create a little knot, hopefully, if we didn't create a problem. So the little knot pulls the bobbin thread up when I pull it away, and then see, they are connected, right? There is a knot there, but eventually it'll just go away, or you can just cut it off. And then I can line up my needle right back where I left off. Put that right back on. We are going to sew all the way around. We want to close it out with the same tails. So I'm going to write it right on the outside here and just move nice and smoothly right into the foot hook. And then you can pull this out. Let's see, it's trapped under that staple tape there. All right, and then just keep going. Always stay on one side or the other. You don't want to be switching back and forth, flipping to the inside or the outside of this channel right here. And actually, this is so thick, I'm going to move this up just slightly because it's very, very tight. So while we're doing this, I want you to notice that I'm not going to rotate this sandwich, right? This edge is going to stay here, and the bottom edge is parallel to the machine down here. Just rotate the template, but we are not rotating the quilt sandwich, right? Just push. Push the sandwich to the right, push it to the left, push it forward, or pull it back towards you. That's all you need to do, and that's going to help you control your stitch length as good as possible. All of us have our own existing speed preferences that we've developed over years of sewing for most of us, right? If you're brand new, you can say, I don't know what speed I want to go, but if you're a sewer that's been sewing for a while, your body already knows, right? So we want just to have the machine sound nice and even and smooth. Okay, note that I'm still on the outside edge of this channel right here, this side. You can go on the inside or the outside, it's totally up to you. Just stay on the same one, pick one, and don't flip back and forth. That's what will make the circle look the best. Okay, so each of the circles hits right in the center. So as I rotate this last one to close this, I want to show you that I can just move this a little. And if this is right in the center, then I already know that my circle is going to close nicely. So just as I come in, I want to look inside the little cutout of the foot and slowly close it. I can do a slight bit of manipulation if I need to, but if it's right in the line, that's perfect. Our circle closed beautifully and it attached exactly where it should. Some people will ask me about why their circle does not close nicely. The biggest reason that you might have a problem closing your circle is if you're pressing down too hard on this as you're going, or you're torquing the fabric underneath it, right? If you push fabric in or you pull fabric out underneath the ruler, that's one of the things that is going to create havoc for you and not have the design look as good as it could. So a gentle touch with this. Some people don't even use any stable tape. I still do, just because I want it to help me move the fabric as well. And let's go ahead and make some of these lines longer. This is, as I said, is our anchor for this design, but we do need our lines to go further. So at this point, let's see if I can, I don't think there's any chalk in that one. I'm frustrated because I can't find that other chalk. All right, we're going to use this nice big fat chalk. I love this one, but it's fat, so I'm going to sharpen it just a little bit so that we can have a finer tip on it. You think I was prepared, right? I'm prepared with the design, but apparently my marking tools are not prepared properly. So let me just pull this whole thing out. Oh my goodness, what a day. I just can't make the marking tools work for us today. They're mad at me. Okay, circle's done. Let's go ahead and mark some of these so we can have some nice long lines. See, the tedium of you watching me mark these lines should be a good encouragement for you to get the big crosshair. So you don't have to go through this with your own, right? Oh, so who saw the design that this is a mock-up of that we're going to try and see what we can do. I posted this amazing Pro Stitcher design on my website, and I saw that it has the potential to be somewhat mimicked by templates, and it looks pretty fantastic. So what I thought today is I'm going to show you some ideas for how we can mimic some of those elements. But if you want to reference the original design, it's on my fabricated quilts page. So you'd be welcome to go look at that. It's just a picture. It's somebody, somebody has a digital design. And what we're doing is we're showing you how you can make some facsimile of it, but without any digital anything, no embroidery, nothing. You'll be able to create this basically on your own. How did I decide what size circle that I wanted to use? I knew I wanted the design to be somewhat large, and I kind of debated about what size I was going to use, 8 or 10. And when I drew it out, I felt like the 10 worked really well. So I just decided that that's what I'm going to do. Can you take these things that I'm going to show you, the information that I'm going to give you, and manipulate it to be on an 8-inch circle? Yes. On a 10-inch circle, on an 11.5-inch circle, on any size, right? The concepts that we're going to be doing today are very universal, and you'll be able to take that information and adapt it to any basic size design that you want. And you can make designs that are smaller, designs that are bigger. You have a lot of potential variety with this. Oh my goodness, there's a lot of lines, right? I told you that. Thanks for being patient. So let's see what other people got to say. What's the name of the page? Vicki Edwards asked me that. So I'm Kate Quinn, and my page is Fabricated Quilts with a K, no C, Fabricate. So I know it's kind of people like it or they hate it. I hate it in the sense that I have to spell it because it's not intuitively obvious. So I always have to tell people how to spell it. But I do like it in the sense that it helps people remember that it's me. So, okay. So we got a lot of lines now. We've got our center point right there. So let's get started with the onion top right away. We're going to use this, and we have to make a couple of additional marks. We've got 2 different back-to-backs that we have the potential to use. And you can use either side. So the back-to-back is always an S curve. Here's the bottom and here's the top. The other side is the same. The difference between these 2 sizes is one is a little shallower and one is a little deeper. So this is the back-to-back number 4-2. This is the back-to-back 3-2. What that means is this is 3 inches, right? This is a C curve right here, and it's 3 inches wide, 3 inches wide. So this is 6 inches. And then on the 4, you would have a much longer line because you have 4 and 4. So each one of these C curves from here to the center is 4 on the 4-inch template. And on the side, you'll see that it'll tell you the measurements. So on the shallow side, it's 1.5, sorry, 1.5, it's upside down, and 2. And on the other one, on this, the 3, it's 2 and 1.5. So I tried to keep them the same relationship. They're just one is longer than the other. And the reason I did that is I want you to be able to see what the difference is between them and how we use them. All right, so let me go ahead and mark. We need the 16 reference lines for this, otherwise we'll get lost. So I'm just going to go ahead and put some notes on there. And I'll also bring out my ruler stickers because those could be very, very helpful for what we're going to do as well. All right, so we have 32 divided by 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I can't do it that way. I'm just going to have to number it. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. See, I could have done this all beforehand. I always feel nervous that I have to show all of this part. I feel like we need to get on to the sewing, right? But how can you set it up if you don't actually set it up for people? So thanks for being patient while we go through some of the, what I call the more tedious part of it, right? The marking part. I just want to sew. Let's sew. All right, 22, 23. All right, can somebody help me with the math? If I want to have the 16 lines, I got to skip how many every time, right? You think I could figure that out, right? I'm a visual learner, but math always dances around in my head. Even when I was in school, I always struggled with it. I'm better at math than I used to be because quilting, I think, makes you practice it a lot, but I still have to can't add in my head, things like that. My husband's really good at doing that. I have other skills. Okay, so let me show you what we're going to do. Let's say that we've got two splits, right? So if this is the 16, we split that twice. That's why we have the 32 lines. So what we want is this one is in the middle. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. We need one in the middle and skip over. So let me make the 4-inch mark for our one that's in the middle. It's got to be that one, right? 1 and 1 and that one. 4 inches. I think I hurt myself with too many lines. I'm going to put my marking tool back on because that's going to be the best way to figure out what we need. All right, if that's the center and I'm on a line. All right, so this one, I'm just going to put a star here so I can figure out what I need. So that one's on the line, that one's in the middle, and that one's on the line. Okay, there we go. We'll be able to use that as the reference. So you can see that there'll be 3 lines, and the center one is where we want to measure our 4 inches. So I'm going to measure that. Oh, and this has got to be longer still. We'll just make it longer. All right, so this is the good part here. The 4-inch right here, that's what we need. So I'm just going to make this very visible. And let me explain why we need that. So we're going to start our design from here, and our back to back is going to align to here and cut back to there. So every time we're going to use that same relationship, but I'm going to do 2 different designs. We explained that earlier. So for each time as I go around, rather than just mark them all right now, I'll just keep this handy and we'll just mark that 4-inch as we go. Okay, let's start with the 3-2. I want to use the shallower side. I can use either, but this one tends to bite into the rest of the design a little more than I want. And I'll show you what I mean. I got my spacing gauge. I want to bring the foot in at the star right here on the circle. So I'll just set this up. That's going to be the anchor right there. Okay, so my needle is right in the circle and I'm crossing over to that 4 with this shallow side. And what I want is I want my foot in the hook, and we're trying to create this little onion top. So can you see there's the onion top right there? And the 4 is not quite all the way to the S curve. It stops in the middle of this pretty much. Okay, so we would use our spacing gauge to line it up right on the reference line, and we'll sew that first one. And that's how we get the onion top right there. Okay, so when I looked at it, I could see that that was an S curve, that it has different depths, and this one is allowing us not to cross over this reference line. So if it crosses over and we did another one, we'd get a little overlap there, but this one seems like it fits just perfectly. So I am going to rotate the design just a little bit because I want to show you how we line up the other side. And I want you to look, we used the foot hook here. So if I want to mirror image this, I have to make sure that I am going to use the foot hook on the other side. The foot hook helps us be very precise about getting back. I don't know exactly up here where I was, but I know that the foot hook fit right on the space, right? So I know that as long as I have the ruler touching here and I sew down to my foot hook, then these should be a mirror image. Okay, was that tricky? So let me show you my onion top. Oh, it looks so good, doesn't it? I love it. It's so pretty. Okay, so this is one idea, and this gives you a certain size dimension, right? We have a lot of room in here to play with this and put some different things in. So this one is the 3-2. This is the first one that we did. So I'll just put a little number 1 right here. So you'll know we're going to sew over that, but that's number 1. That is the 3-2 back to back, and I use this 1.5-inch side, the shallow side, not the deep side. Okay, so what I wanted to do is, just in the interest of showing you how small variations change your design, I want to do the same thing with this next one. Okay, so again, this is my star, and then I have an empty line. And this one will be the 4, so we'll mark this at the 4 inches. And hopefully it will fit. It should fit. I did template this so they would all fit. And then we have a skip, and then this is the star for the next one. Okay? So if we use that same principle, and this is like where your ruler stickers could be helpful for you. So let's say we want to use the shallow side again, just to keep it the same. This is also 1.5, and this one is 2. So this way, the curve is just stretched a little longer here, but we still want to use the hook, and we still want to have the bow coming out. Because see it, we could put it with the bow like that, where it's going in. We don't want that. We want this little bump to be the bottom of the onion top. So if I line this up with the spacing gauge, I want you to see what a big difference that it's going to give us with just that little bitty change. All we did was use a curve that is taller. So we're still going to hold the same. You can see I have the 1/4 inch on that side pretty conveniently. It's not as tight as the other one because the angle is different. Come right up to the crosshair line. Now we still want to use the foot hook, right? And we want to mirror it. So this is where we will flip it over. Okay. And we need to use the foot hook again each time to make sure that if this is the middle line, we're skipping and we're aligning to this one right here. This is the skip, and we're going to align right there. Okay. I want the foot hook right in that space. There's some lines that cross right along it, along the foot hook. Let me see if I can show you a little better. So I'm going to respond to Marvel Ann. This is the back-to-back 4-2, and the previous one is that we used for this one right here is the 3-2, 4-2, 3-2. And what's the difference? The difference is just that they're different sizes. One is longer than the other, and that changes the design. The length of it changes what it looks like. So let me see if I can get us back to our page here. I want to get the comments up so I can read them a little better. I need them to be bigger because I can't see. Oh, let me turn the volume off. Hang on just a second. And we'll make a few adjustments and we'll get started. Oh my goodness. adjustments and we'll get started. Oh my goodness. Okay, usually I have that off, sorry. As soon as I made it bigger, it started playing. Okay, so Marveland, did that help you understand the size change? And so what we're doing is we're just trying to show you that when you make even a small change of size, that it can have a big impact. So let me get this lined up right here. I'll use my spacing gauge and we're gonna sew right to this corner. So make sure it's touching at the top and we'll use your spacing gauge. And here we go. Okay, get it right into the hook, try to get right to the circle. You want to look inside and make sure that there's no gap between where your needle is and your thread, because we don't want a little space, a little hole right there. Let's go ahead and we'll do one more of each, maybe just a little faster so you can get the idea. Spacing gauge is very helpful, and we're using the center space right here. And so we have a skip, and this will be the star for the next one. And this is where we're measuring those 4 inches. The reason I chose 4 inches is if you try to choose something really long, you're limited by what the back-to-back can do. But we also only want to sew about 3/4, right? If this is half of the back-to-back, we kind of want to stop somewhere in there where it's coming back to the tip but curving up a little bit. But if we go all the way, then we'll lose the shape. So we're using about 3/4 of the back-to-back at a time. And remember what we said, we want it to bow out and then we want it to touch right at the 1/4 inch. So did you guys notice that we're flipped over? We're using the recess this time. This is the same as if I did this, right? As long as the bow is going the same direction, then the measurement is the same. So if you felt like one way was more comfortable for you, then you have the option to do it on either side as long as you get what you want. Make sure that you're looking at it and that the curve is giving you what you anticipate. If you're not sure if you have it positioned correctly, you can take your pinky and just trace the line of the curvature, and you'll see, like I can do this. I'm like, okay, it bows out and it comes to the point. So that's something that's really important when we're doing something like this, is making sure that you're getting the direction that you want. Now, again, we're using the shallow side. So if I were to put this on here like this or like that, I wouldn't be getting the correct side. This is the tall, fatter side. We want to use that narrower side. So let's put it on this side and we'll align. Right? So we have a skip, and this is our star, and we want the foot hook at the base, always at the base. We could do it at the tip, but I think it's easier to align if we just keep it at the bottom. My perception is that that was easier and easier to repeat. So I'm just going to use that convention. You can do whatever you want, whichever seems best for you. So as I get to the circle, I'm slowing down to get right into the circle. And you can see we have that beautiful onion top again. And we'll just do one more, and that essentially will give us half of the design. And that's enough probably for us to work with today. So again, checking to make sure this is the taller side, this side is the shallower side. So as we're getting ready to do it, I want to use the shallow side with the bump going outward, okay? And line it up at that 4-inch mark. So we have a skip, and this is the center line. Put our little 4-inch reference right there, right on the circle, and just mark that. And then we'll have a skip, and this is the line that we're lining up with again. So the sewing part here is not the hard part, is it? It's just getting things lined up and understanding the relationship with the tools. I think that is probably the more important and impactful part of what we're learning right now. So you can see this one's going to be a lot taller. It still has a little bit of a point. This is the shallow side, so we're going to mirror image it, flip it over, and line it up so that it can sew right down with the spacing gauge and land right at the bottom. Okay. All right, so let me show you what we're going to do next. I'm going to grab some things. I'm going to turn this a little bit, and I want to put some different arcs in here that will kind of come across, and I need a 2-inch or so. So let me grab it. I got a couple of different arcs that we're going to use, and that'll make it easy for us to put something in there. So we have this line right in the middle, and we could line this up basically right on the center line, and this is going to be the 1/4 inch. So this is the 3-inch arc. Okay. Oh, it's pretty shallow. I should have got a bigger one. All right, let's just, rather than do it the wrong size, let's find something deeper because I want to have a bigger arc in there. I need my 2-inch circle is what I need. All right, it's right here. And because I have all these great lines on it, but I don't want to have to, I need to be able to move it around, I can actually just take the pin, the key out right now, and I'll just set it to the side with tape so it won't go anywhere. And then we can use that. We want a bigger circle. Okay, so line it up. So right here, when I played with this, I could tell that this would get me right over 2 inches. So I had measured it, and you'll see this one will be much deeper, which is what I wanted. Okay, and then you're lining it up with this reference line right on the middle. It's going to make a nice deep little cut right there. And you can see that it's right at a 1/4 inch. If it wasn't, I could pull this down a little bit and just shallow it up because we want it to fit in the parameters of our crosshair lines. We want to travel from crosshair line to crosshair line. So we'll just keep on filling this up. I'll turn it this way so you can see this is the spacing gauge that I need right there. So if I need to make it shorter, it looks a tiny bit big, I'm just going to pull it down just a little bit. So that means that it won't be a true 2-inch half circle, but it means that it will fit in the crosshair lines the way that I want. So we'll just manipulate that a little bit each time, line that up, trying to get the arc in the middle if I can. And right there, there's my 1/4 inch. Okay. All right, and we'll just keep on going. And this one, I think I do need to pull it down just a little bit because it seems a little bit big. If it's slightly smaller inside of the other design, I don't care. It'll be easily camouflaged. I don't need to worry about it. So I'll show you right there. We're on the line right here. There's my 1/4 inch right there. So this is part of what I did in the design planning is I had measured this space after I put in my onion top, and I knew that this 2-inch could fit in. I could also fit in 1, 1, 1, 1, and I'll show you that as well. Colleen, you asked if this is a Westalee foot. This machine actually comes with a foot, a ruler foot, and it fits on very well, very precisely, and I don't have to adjust the height at all. The way that I would adjust the height with this machine is I would go ahead and adjust it with the button. So because this one fits so securely on this machine, I do want to use the button that's on here just because it's easier. Okay, so we're done right here. I'm going to just tie this off and let you see what we've got so far. We got 2 different options right there. So I'm just doing a little micro tacking, and then I will take this off. Well, we got 1 like so far. Somebody said they liked it. I know it's a process, right? That's part of it is, you got to stick around long enough to see the process. And, I do always post these videos. They'll be available later, so you can definitely watch them at your own pace. But what I just really want you to do is get the idea that there's something that you could see out there, and how do I translate that into some design that I can create? So we're done with these. Westalee has kind of gone to some of the channel slots, right? But some of the older ones, like this 2-inch circle, still has the key, and I love it. And make sure you put your key back in. Okay, so if I wanted to come in, I could do this 1-inch circle. I want to show you that if I want to make this into a swag, I can do something wider. This is a little shallower than I want. I want something that will not be quite so far away like that. So maybe if I had like a 2.5-inch circle or something like that, where I could stretch it up a little bit, but it wouldn't be as tall. And then you would be able to just put a little swag in there. I think that the 3-inch arc is maybe a little too much, right? It doesn't go deep enough for what I want. Like if I put this on here right here, it's still going to give you such a shallow. So what I need is something between the 2 and 3, just to put it a little bit bigger. So about 2.5 would work really well to put a little swag arc in here. Okay, also another idea is you can also use an oval, because an oval will tip into the top a little bit. Let me show you what I mean. Where is that back to back? Okay. So my back to back is 3-inch, but I want it to be taller. Where did it go? I just set it down and now I can't find it. Ah, here we go. Okay, so see how this one is deeper? So if I were to line this up inside there, it's going to give me a little bit more height than this right here, the 3-inch. So this one could be a really good fit. And what you're doing in this case is you're letting the design be the guide. So if I started right here and I did another line, we can do this as a continuous. This one wouldn't have to be threads cut. We could have just put this back on and gone back the other way. All right. So bobbin's picked up. I got both threads. And here again, here's the limit. So kind of tip this so it's straight. And then you're going to be using your spacing gauge. And that will give you a really cute little swag for this area right there. So trying to keep it in the center, but you'll see it's going to make a nicer little curve right there. Okay. So it's a little bit deeper than that 3-inch, right? Because that 3-inch is a little shallower. I think the key is when we're trying to do swag arcs, the one arc that goes underneath, it's always got to be bigger, so much so that you can't push it up into the arc. You're basically limiting how far it can travel up into the space. And that's how you get that shallower little swag under there. It looks cool. I'm loving it. So far, so good. Okay, and checking my position each time, trying to make sure I'm mostly in the centers because we want this tall part right in the middle there. Okay, and for this design, I'm actually going to just stitch back right there to the center, and then we're going to start doing the little fill options that go in these two different ones. So what I chose was the Spinifex number 10, and this one, we'll just put it on one way. And I do have even my mini Spinifex if I wanted to use that one, but I think we're going to use like 3, 5, 7 and just switch those around. So this is where you're going to be manipulating templates. And what I want to do is I want the wider part right here. So let me show you, let me get my little design out. Okay, so One of them is going to be from the top, and the one that is the big onion top like this one is going to have the part right here coming out of those little clamshells. It's going to go that way. So it may not touch the top, and I'll just show you two different ideas for how those can be arranged. So when we do the first one, this one does not fit inside of there, but I'm still going to use it because it has a good shape. So let me show you what I mean by that. Oh my gosh, look at all my staple tapes are off of there. I don't know what happened to them. Do I have any spares conveniently close by? I don't. We're just going to go with it. Okay, it's probably sticky enough. So stick that on there. We do want the tape because we do not want the key going anywhere. So why am I selecting this instead of doing it this way? This side is much wider. If you look at it, this is a much wider connection and it's narrower here. So what I want to do is try to limit this from cutting in to any of the design that's already there. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take about 3 stitches up. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Nobody's going to see it when we're all done. And notice how this would cut into our onion top. So I don't want to do that. So what you're going to do is you're going to sew out, right there, and back. Okay. And then keep it on the center line, and we'll do the same thing. Touch, and we'll cut back. Okay. And then take it off. I love being able to take them off and put other ones on. So we're going down in size. This is where it's really cool to have different sizes of these templates. Well, this poor bag really had a bad day, right? All these staple tapes are missing in action. They must have been in the heat or something. I'm not sure why they look like that. Doesn't that look cool, you guys? I love it. It's going to look even cooler in just a second. All right, so we put the next size on, and we want to mirror the same thing. We want it to go the same orientation. Oh my goodness. Let's see. I'm not sure why I can't get it on, but must have to go on the other side. Okay, I figured it out. There we go. Right there, put the tape back on. Always tape up near the top where the ruler foot is going to be touching. We always want the tape to be secured up here. We don't really care what's happening out there. So remember we said we want this narrower part. Okay, now this is definitely going to fit inside of our design. We're going to get the full shape. Okay, and then we'll take it off and we'll put the next size on. What we're doing is we're just creating some layers for fill. And if you really love Temply, this is a great way to prepare for Temply. Whenever you have those intersecting layers, it gives you some layers to cut away, right? That way you can have, different colors in there. You can also use these to create an applique shape and turn the applique and stitch it on there afterwards by hand if you wanted to. Let's do one more, and that'll be the fill for this particular one. Okay. So I said I was going to show you 2 different ways to do it. So we showed you 2 different back-to-backs and the impact of the change. And this has got the skinny part right down there. Okay. And now we'll do the last one. And now as I go, I'm just going to put a couple of extra fill stitches right there so it looks really intentional right there. Because I don't want to have a big gap right there. Okay, what do you think? Doesn't that look so cool? Where are you now? Cindy, what do you mean, where am I now? Where do I, I'm at home. Can you not tell? I'm at home. We're having homemade spaghetti sauce tonight. And a couple of my children are coming. I'm not sure if they're all coming, but a few of them. So how would I get to the next place where I'm supposed to be? The easiest way in this case would be to go ahead and just cut your threads. So we're going to tie off as we did those little micro tacking stitches, right? I could sew along the circle, but that's a lot of extra stitching without a lot of need for extra stitching. So that is using the bottom element of the design right here. And on this one, we're going to use the top element and do it a little differently. Now, this was size 7.5, 5.5, 3.5 of the Spinifex number 10. And we can use the same size, or we can decide if we want a bigger size when we do this next one. You're going to start with your needle at the top of the point right here. We're going to emphasize the point with this one. Okay, and let's put at least one of these on. So we'll put this big one. And let's see if we can use this wider side this time. And what is important to me is I don't want to sew outside of our design. So if this is going to, then I don't want to do it. Like if this is bigger than 1/4, I don't want to mess up the shape that we spent so much time creating. So for example, if you had a Spinifex that had a narrower tip, that might work just as well. So line it up on your crosshair. This is less than 1/4 on this side because it's narrower. And I don't know that it will fit all in there. We'll see. I'll show you. I'm going to keep sewing here until I touch the stitch line. And if I can sew the whole thing, that's great, but I don't think I can. I think I can only do one more stitch. Oh, sorry, I bumped you guys. One more. And then we'll go back. Okay, and then we'll go this way. Sew in until you touch, until you can see the stitch line touching down at the bottom. It gives us a lot of the shape, but not all of the shape. But it does let us be right at the tip right there, and we're not trying to like scoot down or, you know, make space or anything. So we'll take this one off. I do like having different sizes because I feel like that gives that layered look, which helps us create the higher definition quilting that we want to get. You know, when we go to the shows, we all look at those fabulous quilts with people that won, and we're like, oh, we just want to have that texture. Well, this is a way that we can start getting that. Okay, we're layering that. We're layering those sizes. We need the narrow one at the tip, we already said. So now that we have this on there, we're just going to keep using the same shape, and we're going to start filling it in. So this part of the design is going to be a little heavy at the top, as opposed to the other one that's going to be a little bit heavier at the base of the onion. Okay. Oh, I love it. It's looking so cool. All right, let's take that off. I always put my keys back in because God knows I end up with a key somewhere. All right, I'm going to real quick just look at some of our comments right now. Debbie, thank you. You're planning to? Your boys moved to Mesa. Oh, Scottsdale. I would love to go to the Festival of Quilts, but I will not be able to. I have a job this week. I'm going to Kansas City, and then I'm coming back home, and then I'm going to Dallas. So, oh, your grandkids are coming. That's cool. You guys, I love it. I wish I had grandkids. I'm just not there yet. Maybe someday. I tell my kids, get on the stick, right? But, you know, they're just not ready. That's fine. All in good time. Can't rush it. All righty. I did watch some cute little kids at church today. Two little brothers beating themselves up. The one brother was trying to get his brother to leave him alone, so he was hitting him. So the other brother kept hitting him back. I'm like, honey, you're not getting what you want this way. You're perpetuating him hitting you more. But I just smiled. I didn't say anything. I just kept on going. They were adorable. Kids in church, man, it makes me smile. I don't want them to be quiet because that's not how God made them. Okay, so we're done with this part, and I'm just going to show them both to you, and you guys can decide what your favorite is. let's see right there. What do you think? Which one do you like best? Remember we labeled them number 1 and number 2, so you guys could vote. This is number 1 right here, and this one is number 2. So what do you think? Now, when I show you these, imagine how many different and infinite variations that you could do if you have different spin effects than I do, right? I don't have every single spin effects out there. This is just the one that I picked. But you could choose spin effects 13, 15, 12, whatever, you name it. You could do any kind of different shape. And as you remember, like the bloom template, the neck is kind of narrower, so that one will fit in some of these and create an even different look by using some of those different spin effects. So I encourage you to try it and play with the one that you like. And can I do this and do this without a back-to-back? Yes. Here's an idea for you. You could mark halfway, right? So arc here and then an arc this way. So you could mark with your 3-inch arc or whatever. Let me see, I'll show you what I mean. I'm not explaining it very good, I can tell. Right. So I could put an arc, and I could even use the crosshair line here, and I could sew to the crosshair line, and then I could flip this around and just make sure that this will come up correctly, right? So it wouldn't look exactly like mine, but it would be pretty close. It's an arc, right? So you could still do it. So you could have a circle reference where this one hits at 2 or 3 or whatever, and then this one hits at 4, and you're just manipulating it to get both sides. So nobody should be telling me, I don't have that tool, I can't do it. Yes, you probably have a tool that you could use. If you have any kind of a curve, you probably can do it. Okay, so that was number 10. We showed the circles on quilts. And now I'm just going to show one last one that I think is really fun. Let me grab it. Now I just dumped everything out over here, so I have a big mess. I got to find it. Okay, here it is. All right. This one does require a pin. Okay. So I saw a lot of chatter this week about long arm pins, right? This is a long arm pin. See how long it is? And God help you, don't get poked by it. It's really sharp. This should have come with it, or something like this, like a little cap. And that's the pin more that will go on top. And that prevents the pin from falling out if the ruler base moves away from the pin, right? So with the long arm, the ruler base is moving with the machine, and it's got a platform. And if it moves away from the pin will fall out. So you've got to put it up through there, and you're going to put the pin more on it, and that would hold it, right? You don't need this if you're on a domestic machine, because where's your pin going to go, right? Nowhere. It's not going to go anywhere. But if you're on the long arm, you definitely need that. So let me go ahead. I'm going to tie this off so we can get these threads free. Okay. Let me show you something cool, right? We're going to pull this out because we want to cut these threads. There's the bobbin thread right there. Hold this. When I put the needle down and up to bring up the bobbin thread, I'm going to release my foot again, let the foot come up. Now, see this loop that I'm holding? Watch this. Let's pull the whole thing. There is my bobbin thread right there. We just pulled the whole sandwich away, and it just lifted that bobbin right up to the top. That way, when I cut all of these threads, now I shouldn't have any lingering bobbin thread to cut on the bottom. So the reason that I did have a little bit is that I didn't pull this up tight. The piece that is attached to the quilt backing, pull that up tight. And then when you trim, you won't have to go back and trim anything from the back of your quilt, which is really nice, because sometimes, you know, you just don't want to have to go back and every single place where you already sewed and then have to cut it again. That's just annoying. All right, I'm putting my pin in because, like I said, I can't see it when it's far away from me. And I do want it to go right through the hole that I had before, so I'm going to try and line it up. The reason that's important is we already sewed the circle, and this next design is another circle. It's another shape. And I want to make sure that my pin is oriented so it's right in the center so the circles line up. So, I just dropped the pin out because I didn't put my pin more in it. So annoying. All right, let me get it right back where we need it. I don't know why it's being so difficult. I'm struggling to get it in. There we go. Oh, it's that double batting. It's just so much thicker and it doesn't want to go. Okay, here we go. Why did I choose double batting? I did, look, I'm not lying. Because when I finish with this piece, I really, really want the quilting to show and pop, and I plan to use some silk thread as well and actually do some detail quilting in these spaces. So I definitely want to make sure that it's going to give me the biggest loft that I can have. And I'm going to come back in and I'll correct that one as well. Okay, the one that we're using, this is why I made all these extra lines. I'm going to have you guys come out just a little bit so you can see a little bit more. This one is a 10-inch circle, and this one has a 9.5 inch, I'll show you right there, 9.5 inch strand of pearls. This is the 1/2 inch. So when we're using the strand of pearls, if this is the 9.5 inch side, and I can tell that it says 9.5 right there. So you're gonna follow the line all the way down. This is not the pinhole for this one, it's for the bottom. So take this line right here and follow it down to the correct pinhole right there, and you're going to put that on the pin. All right. So the way that these work is very cool. I'm going to put this inside, and let's see if we can get up a little up top so you can see the alignment just a little bit better. I do have the long arm thumbtack. This has a lot of clearance, and the thumbtack is very, very far away from the foot because we're sewing in here. This is always going to be far away. So I shouldn't have any problems getting this to behave. So I'm going to use both sides of this. So right now, this is lined up right on these chalk lines. You can see 1, 2, 3. It's actually lined up on all 3 of them. When you sew around with the jewel, you're going to sew half. So I'm going to sew half of the circle, and I'm going to stop when my needle is at the top on the crosshair line of the curvature. Okay, so I'll explain it a little bit more as we go. If I don't use the lines with this tool, if I don't have a crosshair, I think this tool can be very tricky without them. You really need the lines so that you can have a nice, pretty circle. So as we go, we are going to stay on the bottom, and we're going to sew on the bottom. And right when I get to the chalk line right there, when I'm lined up right with the line, but I'm at the top, that is half of the circle now completed. So when I rotate this, I'm going to line it up on the chalk line on the other side. Now this is the chalk line here, and you can see the other half of the circle is on that side. So now we're going to close the circle. Okay, so the other half of the circle, and we'll travel to the next line. Now, if I want a line, a circle on every line, then I need to adjust that so that the circle will go on every line. Okay, so I'll be a lot of turning the template back and forth, getting it lined up each time, but I want to do that because I know that I have enough room to put circles closer together if I do it this way. So stitch to the center line right there, okay, line it up and put this right on the reference line, and then we'll sew that half right to the chalk line, line it up, and line up this other side. So you're going to be switching the template around each time. You'll come to the center line, get it lined up right on the chalk line, but you've got to rotate it to put the circle in. So using this crosshair line, this is the reason why we added so many lines. I knew that when I did my previous design that the circles were way far apart. So you see that? See how far apart they are? I knew that I could fit at least one in the center of every one of these. So I knew that I needed more lines in order to put that in the center. So that's why you'll see that it'll have like 1, 2, 3, but then we're sewing to the middle, and then we'll do half of the circle on that side, rotate the template and do the other side, and travel to the next line. Okay. So when you do strand of pearls and you're sewing along and you want cute circles everywhere. The big challenge is that we don't know how many can fit. So for example, right here on this one, I cannot fit another circle that size right in between here. It just will not fit. It's not possible. So rather than worry about that, I just want to fit as many as I can fit evenly. And that's what the crosshair lines are giving me. They're giving me the opportunity to fit them in evenly. Okay, now I lost track of where I am. Ha! All right, we got to sew the back of it, right? I don't know, did I go wrong? Oh yeah, I did. Otherwise I'll end up on the wrong side. So I do want to keep the same pattern so that I can sew on the bottom, because that's going to help make sure the design is nice and clean. So as I go to the center, here's the middle, advance this over to that line, and then we'll sew to the top. Oh, I see, I can't talk and sew at the same time. Can you tell? I think I went the wrong way. I already just told you not to do that, but I did it anyway. I think I need one more stitch though to get to the middle of the line. There we go. Okay, we'll just sew the other side on this one, and then we'll close it and just go the other way. Right, there's the bottom. Now I'm just going to go that way. Just rotate it to the next line, just sew on the bottom. Can I sew on the top? Would it matter? No, it wouldn't matter. I can totally sew on the top. The reason that I'm not is when I sew the echo line, I'm going to go ahead and sew with the top and just put a little echo in there. So that's why I have not sewn the top. We're going to sew the top all as one with the Circles on Quilts template. Okay, so then just go to the next line, close it right to the center. Okay, and then just line it up each time, just doing half of the circle. And my crosshair lines are already fading a little bit. So if you're doing this, I really recommend that you're using something that can mark and stay on there for a significant amount of time. Because if it starts coming off, it just makes it really difficult as you're going around to get all the lines nice and even, right? Like right here. So line that up, sew your half circle. Okay, and then just come back and get it lined up each time. So on the end there, basically each end from the line of the crosshair is half of the circle, and then on that is the other half. So in between, it's just circle travel. That's it. So we'll just do enough to finish out this half, and then I'll go ahead and cut it, and then we'll just show you one last thing, and then we'll be done for the day. So this design obviously is a bit of a work in progress. I mean, it would take a little bit more time to finish it, but what I just wanted to show you is what the potential was and how we can use different tools to mimic things that we see in our everyday lives and designs that we see. We don't have to have everybody have to have a pro stitcher or have robotics. I mean, we can simulate a lot of really complex and elegant designs with our templates. So one last one. We'll just do this last circle right here to match up. Since I am going to finish this design later on, I'm going to go ahead and just do the complete circle here, and I'll show you how we can transition and go back to the other side and finish this. So let me show you. I'm going to go like this. We'll close the circle, and then I'm just going to sew back up right there, and then just line it up to the next line. Okay, and then we'll just keep aligning it. So this is perfectly aligned at the 10, and the 1/4 inch differential is right there. The thing is, we don't want to sew too far without adjusting the template, because what will happen is the curvature changes when it gets to the circle. So what I'm suggesting is just make sure that you keep touching at the top, and you only go about 2 of these crosshair lines at a time, and that will help you close this design and have the little echo across the top. Okay. So with this, you can see we could have the line on the bottom, we could have the line on the top, or we can have the line both directions. It's completely up to us. It's just how we use the template that will give us whichever we prefer. And I think that's my last one, and I'll kind of tack it off right there. Oh, there we go. So I'm going to cut this thread, tie this off, and make sure I don't lose my parts. I put that tape on. So we have lots of these different jewel templates. This one is the 1/2 inch pearl set, which I love that size. I just think that the 1/2 inch is really, really elegant. It is more of a pearl. By the time you get to the 1.5 inch, I think it's really big. So I just pulled it away. There's my bobbin thread. My pin is in there and it is wicked and dangerous, so I'm going to take it out also. Actually, maybe I won't. I think I'll just put a cap on it because I want to finish those circles later. Then I won't have to poke it again and again. So that way it'll stay in the same position. All right, and then let's show you what we got. Was there anything else that I left off? No, I think that's it. I think that's everything that we had for today so far. All right, and then what I probably will do is once I get this part finished, we'll add some ideas into the center, out here, whatever. I haven't figured out everything, but this was a kind of a good start. And you have the benefit of different shapes. What I like about that is I could make these all the same, but I like that we're going to have half of them like this, half of them like this. Just adds a little visual variety for us. And of course, like I said, Templey would be absolutely amazing with this. And my last piece that I plan to do is for sure down here, make this same 1/4 inch echo on the inside and then fill in whatever I want on the center area. So the templates we use today are Circles on Quilts Set 3, which is the fans. We use the Spinifex set number 10, and that was the fills in here in the onion tops. And then for the 2 onions, we use the back-to-back 3-2 and the back-to-back 4-2, your choice. They provide a slight different, but say I wanted to make a big onion top bigger than this. This is longer, so I can get this, but it would just be a lot longer. You'd have to extend this out a good bit more. This right here is 8, so half of it would be 6 inches. You'd have to be able to go, on the diagonal at 6 inches in order to get the 1.5 of this. So lots of variety and a little bit of a change can make a big difference to the ultimate overall shape. So have a great day, you guys. Happy quilting. Thanks for being here. I am traveling this week. I think it is likely I will not be available. I know it seems like I'm like never available. I know that's true. I try to be on when I can. So I know it's often last minute. I actually wasn't feeling very well today, and you guys inspired me to power through it. So anyway, have a great weekend and happy sewing. Be creative and have fun. That's the best thing. That's always going to make you more inspired. If you're not having fun, it's too hard to get inspiration. All right, take care, you guys. Have a good night.